11 lessons to become more positive and engaging. Our life is a constant struggle between what we can control and what is beyond our reach. At the center of this battle is our mind, for some, the greatest ally, and for others, the greatest enemy. What we are about to share here are not just words, but teachings forged in the fire of human experience long ago. These are the 11 lessons that will transform your way of seeing the world, inspiring you to be more positive, engaging, and above all, resilient. Have you ever found yourself thinking that life only throws rocks at you? That no matter how hard you try, things never seem to go right? Perhaps you've heard the phrase, life is hard. But what if I told you that the problem isn't life, but the way you see it? Epictetus, a great Stoic philosopher, once said, "What disturbs men are not things, but the judgment they form on them." Think about that for a moment. It's not the difficult situations that truly cause us pain, but rather how we interpret them. Imagine you are stuck in traffic. You can choose to get angry, pound the steering wheel, and think about all the ways this is ruining your day. Or you can see the same situation differently, as an opportunity to listen to that podcast you love, or even to reflect alone for a bit without interruptions. Do you see the difference? The event is the same, but the way you choose to see it completely changes the experience. When you learn to control your perceptions, you gain a powerful weapon against stress and anxiety. Because in the end, life is not about what happens to you, but how you react to it. That sideways glance you received at work could just be a momentary distraction for that person and not a criticism. The criticism you received could be an invitation to improve, not a condemnation. What if you could see each challenge as a chance to grow? What if, instead of being shaken by adversity, you used it as a stepping stone to become stronger, wiser, more serene? This is the essence of controlling your perceptions. It is training your mind to see situations as they really are, without the emotional distortions that make us exaggerate the negative and ignore the positive. I invite you to practice this today. The next time something bothers you, stop for a moment and ask yourself, is this really as bad as it seems? Or am I letting my emotions cloud my judgment? Remember, inner peace does not come from what happens around us, but from how we choose to interpret those events. Let's go on this journey of learning and self-mastery together. Cultivate serenity even in the midst of chaos, because in the end, it is you who decides how life should be lived. It's time to look at challenges with new eyes and turn chaos into an opportunity to flourish. Now that we understand the power of perceptions and how they shape our life experience, think for a moment. How many times have you found yourself stuck in a situation that seemed impossible to change? It's like trying to row against the tide, insisting that the world should follow exactly your plan. But if there's one thing we've learned from life, it's that it rarely obeys our wishes. Here comes the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest emperors and philosophers history has given us. He left us with a simple, yet profoundly transformative piece of advice. Do not expect the world to behave as you would like. This seemingly straightforward phrase contains a golden lesson on how we should face the inevitable twists and turns life presents us with. Let's be honest. We've all been through moments when everything seemed to fall apart because things didn't go as planned. Maybe it was that promotion at work that never came, or a relationship that didn't develop the way you expected. And in such situations, our first reaction is often to resist, to fight against what cannot be changed. But this resistance only exhausts us, leaving us frustrated and aimless. Now imagine the following scenario. You are in the middle of an important project, having invested time, effort, and emotion in it. Suddenly, something goes out of control. Maybe a supplier fails to deliver materials on time, or a market change affects the entire plan. You have two options: The first is to despair, to waste energy trying to change what cannot be altered and end up paralyzed by frustration. The second option is to face reality head-on, accept that things didn't go according to plan, and then redirect your energy to find solutions within what is within your reach. This is where true strength emerges. When you accept reality, no matter how harsh it may be, you free yourself. Yes, you heard it right. Accepting what is, instead of fighting against the inevitable, is an act of liberation. It doesn't mean giving up on your dreams or settling for less. On the contrary, it means you are willing to adapt your actions, to adjust your sails according to the wind, without losing sight of the final destination. Remember that torrential rain I mentioned before that ruined your outdoor event? Accepting reality doesn't mean standing still in the rain, but instead finding shelter, thinking of alternatives, and seeking new ways to accomplish what you planned. This is living wisely. This is using the energy of acceptance to drive actions that truly make a difference. And what if you applied this approach to all aspects of your life? Imagine the peace you would feel by stopping the fight against what you cannot control. Imagine the power you would gain by focusing solely on what is within your reach. This is the true essence of facing reality head-on, using each adversity as an opportunity to grow, to act consciously, and to become the best version of yourself. So, the next time the world doesn't behave the way you would like, ask yourself, am I wasting my energy fighting the inevitable, or am I focusing on what I can change? If you find yourself resisting what cannot be controlled, take a step back, take a deep breath, and redirect that energy towards something that truly matters. Remember, it's not about resignation, it's about accepting with wisdom and acting with purpose. By doing so, not only will you live more fully, but you will also become an example of resilience and determination to everyone around you. And so, each challenge will become a new opportunity to show your true strength. Now that we have explored the importance of accepting reality and acting on what we can control, we reach a crucial point in this journey. After adjusting the sails and facing life's storms with wisdom, what remains is to strengthen what no one can take from you, your inner self. Seneca, another great sage of Stoic philosophy, reminds us, character is the only thing that nobody can take away from you. In a world where everything is uncertain, success, possessions, even the people around us, character becomes the true anchor. It is what remains firm, even when everything else is gone. But what exactly does it mean to build this inner fortress? Think of a castle, its tall, impenetrable walls protecting everything valuable inside. Now imagine that this castle is you. The stones that build these walls are your virtues, the courage that drives you to move forward, even in the face of fear, the temperance that keeps your passions in balance, and the wisdom that guides your decisions, even in the most complex situations. Let's bring this to practice. On any given day, you face various situations that test your character. It could be that moment when someone provokes you, expecting you to react impulsively. Or perhaps it is a difficult decision where the easy choice seems tempting, but requires wisdom to choose what is right. In these moments, it is your character, this inner fortress, that decides the course you will take. Building this fortress is not something that happens overnight. It is a daily work, like that of an artisan who, with patience and dedication, shapes each stone. Every small decision, every moment of self-control, every time you choose courage over fear, is contributing to strengthening this structure. And why is this so important? Because at the end of the day, nothing that happens outside of you can truly shake who you are inside. Everything external, material possessions, titles, even the opinions of others, can be lost. But your character, the person you choose to be every day, that no one can take away, it is what makes you resilient. It is what gives you the strength to continue even when everything around seems to be falling apart. Imagine a person who remains calm in the midst of a crisis, who responds with wisdom in the face of difficulties, who acts with courage even when the path is uncertain. This is the type of human being who attracts respect, who inspires trust, who leaves a positive mark on the world. And this is the type of human being you become when you build and strengthen your inner self. So I invite you to reflect. How strong are the walls of your inner castle? Are they strong, or do they need repairs? Which virtues have you been cultivating, and which ones do you need to develop more? Remember, this construction is a continuous journey, but every step you take strengthens this fortress that no one can ever tear down. Let's strengthen this internal structure that sustains and defines us together, because at the end of the day, that's what really matters. To be someone of character, with solid virtues, who remains unshaken no matter what happens around. And this is a journey worth taking, because the stronger you become inside, the more capable you are of facing any storm outside. Now that we are aware of the importance of building an inner fortress, let's face an inescapable reality: the adversities of life. We've seen that having a solid character makes us resilient, but the next step is learning to deal with the inevitable challenges that arise along our path. Horace, a poet of ancient Rome, offers us a powerful perspective on this. Adversity reveals the genius. Prosperity conceals it. Think about this for a moment. It's easy to maintain calm and composure when everything is going well, but it's in difficult moments that our true inner strength is revealed. Adversities, no matter how painful they may be, are unique opportunities to show who we really are and what we are made of. But how can we practically face these difficulties without letting them bring us down? The answer lies in practicing indifference to misfortune. This does not mean being cold or insensitive, but rather learning to accept that not everything is under our control, and that wasting energy worrying about the inevitable is like trying to hold the wind in our hands. Let's consider a practical example. Imagine you are working on an important project at work, and suddenly something beyond your control goes wrong. Maybe a key collaborator leaves the team, or an unexpected market change affects the results. In these moments, what really matters is not the misfortune itself, but how you choose to react to it. You can despair, lament bad luck, or adopt a different attitude. Accept the situation, focus on what can still be done, and use the challenge as a test of your willpower and character. This is the practice of indifference to misfortune, not allowing external difficulties to affect your inner peace and determination. And here's the secret. Many times, the difficulties we face turn out to be blessings in disguise. Perhaps that obstacle at work leads you to find an innovative solution you would never have thought of otherwise. Or perhaps that personal loss makes you realize how strong you really are, preparing you for even greater challenges in the future. The practice of indifference to misfortune is not about ignoring problems or pretending they don't exist. On the contrary, it's about facing challenges head-on, but without allowing them to shake your inner peace. It's about understanding that no matter how out of control the external world is, your internal world remains firm, unshakable. So the next time adversity knocks on your door, ask yourself, am I letting this difficulty define me, or am I using it as an opportunity to grow? Practice indifference to misfortune. Accept what cannot be changed and use challenges as trampolines to further strengthen your inner fortress. Let's face adversities together with a new perspective, not as enemies, but as allies in our personal growth. Because in the end, these are the moments that reveal our true genius, that show us what we are really capable of. And believe me, when you practice indifference to misfortune, you become unstoppable, ready to face any challenge that life throws your way. Now that we have explored the practice of indifference to misfortune and learned to see adversities as opportunities for growth, let's address another crucial aspect of inner strengthening: the search for external validation. Epictetus, the great Stoic philosopher, reminds us of a liberating truth. Seek praise and criticism in yourself, and you will see that you do not need others to feel complete. This phrase carries deep wisdom that challenges us to look inward rather than allow ourselves to be influenced by what others think or say about us. Stop and think for a moment. How many times have you found yourself adjusting your behavior, your words, or even your choices to please or impress someone? Maybe it was that work presentation where you were more concerned with receiving praise than with truly expressing what you believe. Or perhaps it was in a relationship where your decisions were shaped by the need for the other person's approval. These situations are common, but the truth is that other people's opinions are volatile and often irrelevant. What may seem like praise today can turn into criticism tomorrow, depending on circumstances or simply the observer's perspective. Basing your self-esteem on something so unstable is like building a house on sand. It can collapse at any moment. So how can we build solid, unshakable self-esteem that doesn't depend on external validation? The answer lies in looking inward and seeking the only approval that truly matters, your own. When you know yourself, when you know what your values are, what your virtues are, and act accordingly, the need for external validation simply disappears. You become self-sufficient, confident, aware that what really matters is living according to your principles. Imagine you are in a situation where you are criticized for something you did. The criticism may be unjust, malicious, or simply a difference of opinion. If you seek external validation, this criticism can shake your confidence, make you doubt yourself. But if you have built your self-esteem on the solid foundation of self-knowledge and personal virtues, you can evaluate the criticism with serenity. If it is valid, you learn from it. If not, you let it pass without allowing it to affect your balance. And here's the key: true strength comes from within. Those who understand this do not depend on others' approval to feel complete. They know that the only opinion that really matters is their own, based on a deep understanding of who they are and what they believe. So I invite you to reflect. Where have you been seeking your validation? Does it come from within your own judgment, or is it still tied to the need to please others? Remember, other people's opinions are like the wind. They change direction all the time. But your essence, your character, is the rock on which you can build a truly full and meaningful life. Let's focus together on what really matters: our own approval. Cultivate this inner strength that doesn't depend on applause or criticism, because in the end, true freedom is living according to your own values without the need to prove anything to anyone. And when you do that, life becomes lighter, more authentic, and deeply satisfying. After freeing ourselves from the search for external validation and firmly establishing our self-esteem on solid foundations, we arrive at one of the deepest and perhaps most challenging lessons of Stoic philosophy: the acceptance of fate. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, teaches us, "Love fate, for it is your inevitable companion." This phrase carries a powerful invitation to change the way we view life. Instead of resisting what happens to us, Marcus Aurelius proposes something revolutionary: to embrace fate with love, to accept everything that life brings us, whether good or bad. Think for a moment about how many times you have fought against what was beyond your control. Perhaps it was an unexpected loss, a plan that didn't work out, or even a life change that you didn't choose. It is natural to resist, to try to alter the course of events, to want things to be different. But what Marcus Aurelius teaches us is that this resistance only generates suffering. When we fight against fate, we are actually fighting against ourselves. But what does it mean in practice to accept fate? It's not about resignation or passivity, but about wisdom. Accepting fate is recognizing that everything that happens, every event, Every circumstance is part of the grand tapestry of your existence. It's understanding that even the most difficult situations have a purpose, even if we can't see it at the moment. And more than that, it's loving this fate, not just accepting it, but welcoming it with an open heart, knowing that it is inevitable and that somehow it is guiding us to where we need to be. Let's consider a practical example. Imagine you lose a job you loved. The first reaction may be despair, resistance, trying at all costs to reverse the situation. But by practicing the acceptance of fate, you begin to see this loss from a new perspective. Perhaps this job was limiting you in some way. Perhaps it was keeping you away from a path that is truly yours. By accepting fate, you open yourself up to new possibilities, to new paths that were previously hidden. And here lies the beauty of this practice. By accepting fate, you find a deep peace. Not because life suddenly becomes easy, but because you stop fighting against what cannot be changed. You begin to flow with life instead of against it. And in that flow, you discover that there is a greater wisdom guiding your steps, an invisible order that in the end is always working in your favor. So the next time life presents you with something unexpected, ask yourself, am I resisting what is, or am I accepting fate with love? Practice this acceptance. Embrace what comes, confident that everything is part of your path, your story. And by doing so, you will realize that fate, as unpredictable as it is a companion that leads you exactly where you need to be. Let's learn to love fate together, to accept life as it is, and to walk lightly, knowing that every step, every detour, every challenge is part of our growth. Because when we stop fighting the inevitable and start flowing with life, we find true freedom and a peace that nothing can shake. After learning to accept fate with love and embracing what life brings us, we arrive at an essential element for a full and serene life: the practice of gratitude for small things. Marcus Aurelius, with his Stoic wisdom, reminds us, do not wait for happiness in great events. It resides in the small, daily joys. This phrase invites us to shift our focus, to look beyond great achievements and milestones, and to find true happiness in the small blessings that make up our days. Think about how many times you have caught yourself waiting for that big moment of happiness. Maybe it's the promotion at work, the purchase of a new car, or even that dream vacation. And while you wait, life goes on, and the small things, which are actually the building blocks of true happiness, often go unnoticed. But the truth is that happiness is not something you should place in the future, waiting for it as if it were a prize to be won. It is here now, in the small things you experience every day. It's in that hot coffee in the morning, in the smile of a friend, in the sun that warms your face, or in the simple fact of being alive and breathing. Let's think of a practical example. Imagine you are having an ordinary day, with no big events or surprises. On that day, you could easily overlook the small joys that arise, the sound of a song you like, the taste of a meal prepared with care, the kindness of a stranger. But if you pause for a moment and really appreciate these small things, you will realize that they have enormous power to transform your day. The practice of gratitude for small things is this. It is learning to see and value what, in the rush of daily life, we often ignore. And when you start cultivating this gratitude, something magical happens. You discover that happiness is not something distant, but a constant source of positivity that accompanies you at all times. And here's the secret: the more you practice this gratitude, the more it grows. You begin to see beauty where you once saw routine, to feel joy in the simplest things. And this change in perspective transforms not only your day, but your entire life. Because when you learn to value the small things, you realize that true happiness is always within your reach. So I invite you to reflect. What are the small things you are grateful for today? It could be something as simple as the aroma of your favorite coffee or the feeling of comfort when you get home after a tiring day. Start practicing gratitude for these small things and see how your life fills with new light, new joy. Let's cultivate this daily gratitude together, because happiness is not in the big achievements but in the small joys that, when added up, make life worthwhile. And by practicing this gratitude, you will discover that true wealth is not in what you possess, but in how much you are able to appreciate what you already have. After reflecting on gratitude for small things and the happiness they bring, it is time to explore a fundamental aspect of living this full life: the control of emotions. Seneca, the wise Stoic philosopher, teaches us anger, fear, envy, they are like storms within us. But just as storms pass, these emotions can also be overcome. This powerful metaphor reminds us that although our emotions can be intense and often overwhelming, they are not permanent. Just like a storm that dissipates on the horizon, our emotions also have a natural cycle, and over time, we can learn to master them. Think of an internal storm you faced. Maybe it was a moment of intense anger, paralyzing fear, or envy that corroded you inside. In these moments, it's easy to feel like these emotions have total control over us, that we are mere passengers at the mercy of a greater force. But what if I told you that you can be the captain of your ship, capable of navigating even the most turbulent waters? Here's the secret: controlling emotions doesn't mean suppressing them or pretending they don't exist. On the contrary, it's about developing the ability to observe them without identifying with them. It's understanding that while you may feel anger, fear, or envy, these emotions do not define who you are. They are temporary states that can be overcome with practice and awareness. Let's think of a practical example. Imagine you are in a situation that triggers anger. Maybe someone has been unfair to you or said something that hurt you deeply. Your first reaction may be explosive, wanting to respond in kind. But if you stop for a moment, take a deep breath, and observe this anger as a spectator, something begins to change. You realize that anger is a reaction, not an obligation, and with this awareness, you have the choice of how to respond constructively without letting anger dictate your actions. This practice over time transforms you. You begin to realize that although you cannot control external events, you can always control how you react to them. With patience and practice, you become the master of yourself, and these emotional storms that once dragged you in all directions lose the power to govern you. And why is this so important? Because when you control your emotions, you gain freedom. The freedom to choose your responses, the freedom to act with clarity and purpose, even in the most challenging situations. This ability not only improves your life, but also your relationships with others, because you become a calm and centered presence, capable of dealing with whatever comes your way. So I invite you to reflect. How have you been dealing with your internal storms? Are you letting them dominate you, or are you learning to observe them, to understand that they pass? Remember, true strength is not in not feeling emotions, but in not being controlled by them. Let's practice emotional control together. Learn to navigate these turbulent waters with confidence and serenity, because by mastering your emotions, you not only become stronger, but also find an inner peace that nothing and no one can shake. And this peace, this mastery over oneself, is the greatest gift you can give yourself and the world. After learning to master our emotions and maintain serenity, even in the face of internal storms, we arrive at a principle that is the foundation for a full and meaningful life: living in the present. Marcus Aurelius, with his timeless wisdom, reminds us, life is too short to be wasted on the past or the future. Live each moment to the fullest. This simple yet powerful phrase invites us to reflect on time and how we are using it. Often, we find ourselves trapped in regrets about the past or anxieties about the future, while the present, the only moment we truly have, slips through our fingers. Think for a moment. How many times have you found yourself mentally replaying a situation that has already passed, wishing you could change it? Or how many nights have you lost sleep, worrying about something that is yet to come? When we do this, we are actually wasting the only thing that truly belongs to us, the now. The past is gone, and the future has not yet arrived. But the present, this is the moment when life really happens. Let's imagine a practical situation. You are at a lunch with friends, but instead of engaging in the conversation and enjoying the food, your mind is elsewhere, maybe replaying an argument you had last week or planning how to solve a problem that may arise tomorrow. When this happens, you miss the opportunity to fully experience the moment. And what could be a pleasant and meaningful experience becomes just another item on the list of things that went unnoticed. Living in the present is, above all, an act of consciousness. It is deciding at every moment to be fully present, whether in a conversation, in a simple task, or even in a moment of rest. It is noticing the small things we often ignore, the sound of leaves in the wind, the laughter of a child, the feeling of the sun on your skin. These are the experiences that make life rich and can only be fully lived when we are anchored in the now. And why is this so important? Because the present is where life really happens. When you are present, you are alive, awake, capable of appreciating the beauty of the moment and making conscious decisions. It's not about ignoring the past or not planning for the future, but about not letting them steal the value of the present moment. So I invite you to reflect. Where is your mind now? Is it in the past, replaying something that has already happened? Or is it in the future, anxious about something that has yet to come? Bring your attention back to the now, to this moment. Take a deep breath and notice what is around you, the colors, the sounds, the sensations. This is the gift life offers you, and it is here that you can find true fullness. Let's learn to live in the present together, to enjoy each moment as if it were unique because it truly is. When you stay anchored in the present, you not only enjoy life more, but also become more capable of facing whatever comes with calmness, clarity, and purpose. And by living this way, you discover that true happiness is not somewhere distant, but right here, in the now. After exploring the importance of living in the present, where life truly happens, let's now address a fundamental aspect of our personal development, learning from adversity. Epictetus, the philosopher who taught us so much about resilience, reminds us, every difficulty carries within it an opportunity for growth. This phrase encapsulates a truth that we often only understand after we have gone through challenges. Adversity, no matter how hard it is a great teacher. It is in difficult moments that we are tested, that we discover what we are really made of, and that we find opportunities for growth that perhaps would never have arisen in times of calm. Think of a difficulty you have faced in life. Perhaps it was a failure at work, a personal loss, or a moment of great uncertainty. At the time, it's natural to feel crushed, not knowing how to move forward. But if you look back now, you'll realize that it was precisely this adversity that shaped you, that forced you to grow, to seek solutions, to adapt, and to strengthen yourself. Let's consider a practical example. Imagine you are dealing with a major financial difficulty. Bills are piling up, opportunities seem scarce, and the pressure is immense. This is the kind of situation that can easily lead you to despair. But if you stop and see adversity in the light of Epictetus' words, you can start to see this situation not just as an obstacle, but as an opportunity. Perhaps it is the chance to re-evaluate your spending habits, to learn new skills, or to seek new sources of income that you would not have considered before. And here lies the most valuable lesson. Adversity is not the end of the road, but a detour that leads us to new possibilities. Every challenge overcome not only strengthens you, but also prepares you for future challenges. You become more resilient, wiser, and more confident in your ability to handle whatever the future brings. After all, if you've already overcome difficulties in the past, you can be sure that you have within you the strength needed to overcome anything the future may bring. So the next time you face adversity, ask yourself, what can this situation teach me? How can I grow from this? Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what can I learn from this? This change in perspective is powerful because it transforms adversity from an enemy to be defeated into an ally in your personal growth. Let's face adversities with a new mindset together, to see every challenge as an opportunity to become an even better version of yourself, because, in the end, it is in difficulties that we find our true strength. And by learning from each of them, you not only become more prepared for what's to come, but also wiser and more resilient. After all, every difficulty overcome is proof of your power of growth and transformation. After learning to face adversity as an opportunity for growth, we arrive at a fundamental principle that can transform our lives: the pursuit of excellence in everything we do. Seneca, the great Stoic philosopher, challenges us with a message that carries deep meaning. Do not settle for less than excellence in everything you undertake. This is the path to true greatness. This phrase invites us to adopt a mindset of constant improvement, of never settling for what is merely sufficient, but always striving for excellence, no matter the task or challenge we face. Think about all the areas of your life, from the simplest daily tasks like making your bed in the morning or preparing a meal to the big projects and ambitions you pursue. Excellence is not about reaching an unattainable level of perfection, but about doing the best you can in every situation. It's about putting care, attention, and intention into everything you do, turning even the most mundane actions into opportunities to express your best. Let's consider a practical example. Imagine you are preparing a presentation for an important project at work. You could easily do the minimum necessary, delivering something that meets the requirements but does not stand out. But what if, instead, you decided to strive for excellence? This could mean dedicating extra time to deeply understand the subject, organizing your ideas clearly and logically, creating impactful visuals that capture the audience's attention, and rehearsing your presentation to ensure your message is conveyed with confidence and clarity. By adopting this posture of excellence, you not only increase the chances of success for the project, but also demonstrate a commitment to the quality and impact of your work that does not go unnoticed by your colleagues and superiors. But the pursuit of excellence goes beyond work or major tasks. It applies to all aspects of life. Imagine the impact of applying this mindset to how you relate to others, to the attention you give to conversations with friends and family, or to how you take care of yourself. Excellence can manifest in small gestures, like responding to an email thoughtfully and well articulated, or in life's major projects, like developing a skill or starting a new business. In each case, it's the effort and intention behind the action that turns it into something truly meaningful. And the impact of this practice goes beyond you. The pursuit of excellence not only improves your own skills and results, but also has an inspiring effect on those around you. When you dedicate yourself to doing your best, whether in small or big things, you set a standard, an example to be followed. The people around you notice this dedication and are often motivated to raise their own standards, creating an environment of continuous growth and improvement. However, it's important to remember that excellence is not just about effort. It's a daily practice, a habit that is built over time. It's not about doing your best only on big occasions, but about applying this mindset to all your actions, from the simplest to the most complex. Excellence is a continuous journey of improvement where every little effort counts. It's this consistency, this daily dedication to doing your best that over time leads to true greatness. So I invite you to reflect. Where can you seek more excellence in your life? It could be in something as simple as dedicating more time to the quality of your interactions, or in something bigger like committing to learning and growing in your career or personal projects. True excellence is not measured by immediate results, but by the quality of the effort you put into everything you do. Let's adopt this relentless pursuit of excellence together. Because by doing so, we not only become better at what we do, but also inspire and elevate everyone around us. And this pursuit, this commitment to being the best we can be, is the path to true greatness. A greatness that is not measured by external achievements, but by the quality of the effort and dedication we put into everything we do every day. Excellence then becomes not just a goal, but a way of life, a continuous practice that guides us toward our true potential. These 11 lessons are not just words to be read and forgotten. They are invitations to profound transformation. By internalizing and practicing these principles, you will become a more positive, engaging, and above all, unshakable human being. We are all in this journey together, seeking the best version of ourselves, facing internal and external storms with the firmness of those who know that true strength comes from within. If these lessons have touched you in any way and awakened the desire to become stronger and more resilient, don't forget to like this video. Subscribe to the channel to continue your journey towards self-control and fortitude. And of course, leave your comment below. We want to know how you are applying these lessons in your life.